Hey, what's up, guys? This is Team Hard Life Captain Alberto Zertuche, and I've got a probably gonna be a real controversial video right here. May not be, maybe, and it concerns Bob Hall Pier. Last month they had the town meeting or whatever for it, and they had it on 2 days. I was so booked up here, I ended up missing both of them, but they gave you a link to go weigh in on your thoughts of what you would like to see on the pier and would not like to see. Well, that wasn't the case, guys. It was, you have these choices and that's it.
Gotta bite. I think I got a lot of stress on my mind. It's a nice day to go. Yeah, I gotta learn. I'ma call the whole team.
There was no do you want it or not want it? If you do want it, which ones would you like? It was A, B, or C. With awning, this type of awning, this type of chair, and that's it. In that order. There was no D, none of the above. So don't get me wrong. For the beginning of the pier, stores, all of that, amenities to eat and enjoy yourself, hey, by all means, I would love to see that growth. However, for the fishing pier, it's a fishing pier, guys. You know what I mean? And everybody's like, well, where do we sit and this and that? We always brought our own chairs and we brought our own shade. And then, it got to, well, you can't have canopies. Well, we got umbrellas. There's ways to be able to fish that pier and enjoy it and keep the mystique of what Bob Hall Pier used to be and keep it that way. People didn't go out there to sightsee water. They went out there to sightsee the big fish that were being caught. And not even just the big fish, the big trouts, big reds, pompanos, Spanish mackerel, all the whiting. They went out there to see fishermen fishing. That's what Bob Hall Pier is known for. Monster fish. I mean, they used to hang them up on the beginning of the pier, and there's tons of old school pictures like that. Now, granted, I'm real happy them days are long and gone. Hard Lights Bait and Tackle. Hello. Now, on that same note, though, with that being said, people went out there to walk into the pier when they would hear, hey, they got a monster shark, or they're hooked up to something. People would come out there in droves to see the fishermen catching. They didn't went out there because, now granted, a handful of them went out there to see how pretty it is and stuff like that. But those numbers in comparison to the guys that went out there to see something being caught was 100 to 1 easily. So that is just one of the things right there. Another one is the covering. They want to create shade. Trust me, I fished out there and sometimes I wish there was shade, but at the same time too, they're trying to make it to where it's a straight up tourist attraction, to where the fishermen ain't going to be able to do what they normally do, and it's fish with plenty of room to be able to maneuver and stuff like that. And then they're making these, they got to remember too, big fish are going to get caught. Big fish don't know what bait not to bite or whatever. They're going to bite whatever bait is in the water. I don't know how many times fishermen, and actually, yeah, that's the main one. I'm going to come back to that. Fishermen put baits out in the water and fish will bite. All right, so one of the other things that I want to hit on too is the bird poop. They wouldn't even go out there and clean it when there was just the lights, the two lights on the end. Birds land there, poop, and you can see the big circles of bird crap on the pier on the end. So they say they're going to put an awning up, and these slats and everything, so where all these birds are going to land, and they're going to be big bird shit gathering areas, you know what I mean? And you want everybody to congregate under there for some shade and this and that. You're going to have a lot of people angry when they get pooped on by birds because this wasn't well thought out. Whoever thought of these plans did not talk to actual fishermen of the pier. You're talking to people that want to build some place for people to visit. I understand that. But at the same time, too, if you're trying to draw in fishermen, which draw in all your tourists. You need to talk to fishermen, people like me, people who actually have been there and fished more than 1 or 2 hours in a day. I've gone out there and spent days on the pier, only leaving to go shower, use the restroom, get some sleep, and then go back to the end. I mean, we stayed out there doing this, and yeah, it got to the point where, okay, there was certain things that couldn't be done. It got to the point you couldn't even, fall asleep in a chair. It was getting really crazy out there with the rules and regs. And me personally, if I'm going to pay for a full weekend of fishing, we're paying nearly $75 to fish a pier. No chairs, no rent, no gear, nothing. We had to pay for our own bait. We pay for our own tackle. We pay for our own food. We walked to the end. And even then, too, the trash cans would get full. And they were struggling just to keep up with the trash cans. And now y'all want to put more things to invite more tourists out there. I mean, y'all say y'all going to hire more people, more this, more that. Well, that's just going to boost the price of the admission to the pier. Is that something that's also going to be addressed too? There's so many things that they didn't talk to fishermen about. They talked to tourist attractants, like what will make that pier more pleasing for tourists. Tourists ain't going to bring monies to the pier the way fishermen do. Fishermen are the ones that catch the big catches and draw in the tourists. That's the way it's always been. I mean, it's always been like that. People went to Bob Hall Pier because they see the videos of the monster fish that are getting caught, monster sharks getting caught, the big gear, the big reels, the crazy number of rods and stuff like that. They go out there to see that kind of stuff. They don't go out there to see small spinning gear at the very end of the pier. They want big fish. They want big gear. They want to see something that's going to enlighten them, that's going to show them, wow, these fish are really there. Being shit on at the end of the pier is not my cup of tea to being out fishing. Now, if a bird's flying by and I get pooped on, well, then that was just my luck. But to build something to draw in more birds to be out there and pooping on us all day long, it's not going to go well, guys. You're going to build an area that nobody's going to be sitting in because nobody wants to get pooped on. So whoever thought about these things that they want to make it better, they need to really look at it as to, okay, how are they going to prevent us from being crapped on when they put up some shade up there? And if you've seen Copart Pier, man, that's a beautiful setup. I got to admit, I love it. It's pretty. You got some chairs where people can sit and stuff like that. But now you're really going to invite people to say, hey, this is my section of the pier. Do not cross that. Do not do this. You're going to invite people to be real protective of the area they're in. I used to fish with one rod on the right, a couple on the middle, a couple on the left. I spread them out because it don't matter where my rods are. I'm going to catch fish. I don't care if you fish to the right of me, to the left of me. Just don't cross the lines. If they do, uncross them and fish. I don't care. But when you start putting up chairs right there by the handrails, you're going to be inviting people to be real protective of their areas because that's where they got their gear sitting. So y'all need to talk to fishermen about how the pier works at the end. If you don't know nothing about fishing, you should not even be weighing in on the conversation. I'm sorry, everything y'all have up in the front to attract tourists, the restaurants, the restrooms, and all by all means, that's all y'all. Have at it. Do whatever you want. I don't care. But when you want to fish the end of the pier, you also got to realize packing it with thousands of people and trying to make it that way, it's going to make it unfishable. People hook up. Fish goes right, fish goes left. Fishermen will go right, fishermen are going to go left. And if you have it packed as people having family picnics out there just because they went out to eat on the water, is not going to be real inviting with fishermen that are trying to be out there to fish, to have and enjoy themselves, So again, guys, whoever's thinking of this, y'all need to really think things through and talk to fishermen that fish that pier, been through the thickness. So again, guys, you're going to see a lot of point of views. Like I said, at the end of the day, Bob Hall Pier was an original fishing pier. People went out there to fish, to get away from a lot of these tourist deals and stuff. They want to fish. They want to take the kids out there and fish. They want to catch, their food, their supper, their dinner, and right now you're looking to take a lot of that away by making it a tourist attraction for people to go out there and just, take up space when people are paying to fish the end of the pier. Like if I go out there and I pay and I can't fish because there's so many people there, you can't maneuver or anything like that. Fishermen don't want to go there. So that's going to take the whole mystique of what fishing piers are designed for. It's a fishing pier, guys. People want to see big fish. People want to see people fishing. Food for thought, you know what I mean? It's just, I already seen the way they had maintained it before, saying that they were going to take care of all the bird droppings and this and that. Nobody would be under the lights during the day. At night it was different. But even then, they made so much noise because as the pier would move and shake, it would create loud banging noises all night long. So you try to be away from them as much as possible. Now you want to add more structure to the end of the pier. Yeah, and when you catch a big shark, a lot of these guys are walking them to the beach. You're just going to make it that much more difficult for these guys to walk these monster-sized fish to the beach, which, might be fine for me because I'll just keep creating these big old shark landing nets so we can get them up at the end of the pier and drop them back down right there. But at the same time, not a lot of people are going to be willing to pay the money for those nets. They're going to have to be walking them down, which means if y'all haven't watched any of our videos, we walk down many a big sharks, many big catches on the straightaways because it's easy. It's a straight shot to the beach. You start putting these bigger things on the right and left side, it's going to make it a little more difficult. We're going to have to pass a lot more fish, or a lot more fishermen, lines and everything else. And I don't know, guys, it's just, it's really going to be something to think about, especially when you're not talking to fishermen about how they fish the pier, how it works to fish the pier. So I guess it's either that or you're not concerned with the fishermen. You're concerned with tourist dollars, which you got to remember. Fishermen brought those tourist dollars because they were catching and posting up on social medias. You start taking that out of the picture, where's your tourist attraction going to be? Food for thought, guys.